Hey, what's up guys? Alex here with a new video, and today we're going to be talking about the Canon EOS R3. I've owned this camera for 2 months, and I have my thoughts. If you're new to the channel, I am a portrait photographer based out of Orlando, Florida, and I am a Canon shooter. So for today's video, instead of doing my first impressions, which I actually recorded, I'm going to do something different. I want to talk about Canon's current problem and why they aren't calling the EOS R3 their flagship camera. Let's get into it. So like I said, I've owned this camera for 2 months and I absolutely love it. But a few things have stood out to me. You know, when Canon released the R3, they were very open saying it wasn't their flagship model. Now, this camera is better than their flagship model, the 1DX Mark III. It's a DSLR, and this camera is better in every single way. So why did Canon do that? And after using this camera for 2 months, I think I have the answer. So when you look at Canon's lineup and when you look at their cameras, I used to shoot with a 1DX Mark II. And I bought a 1DX Mark II because the camera was faster than the 5D Mark IV. It had a better autofocusing system. It had better video codecs. It had 120 frames per second slow motion. It had its place in the market. It was significantly better than the 5D Mark IV in certain areas, and it had its slot. When you look at this generation of cameras, it's really interesting because the Canon EOS R6 is a phenomenal camera. The Canon R5, in my opinion, is probably Canon's best camera right now. Then the R3, while it does things better than the R5 and R6, it's not night and day better, and it's just maybe incrementally better. So let's break that down. So the R3 has the latest autofocusing system, the flagship autofocusing system. And the R5 and R6 keep up, I want to say 95% of the time. Yes, it's faster, and yes, you can feel the difference when you're shooting, but the R5 and R6 weren't slow either. And again, we're talking about, I would say maybe 5% faster than those cameras. Then you look at the sensor. You got the new backside illuminated sensor. That does give you some cool new things. One, you can shoot with a silent shutter and not get distortion. So if you're shooting sports or you're shooting quick moving subjects, you won't get that warping effect you would get with a non-backside illuminated sensor when using the electronic shutter. That is a benefit of this camera. Now, you should theoretically also get better ISO performance. But when comparing the files from the R3 to the R6, they are almost identical in high ISO. The R6 is an incredible camera. You can shoot that camera at 12,800 and get clean results. And with the R3, you can shoot at ISO at 12,800 and get clean results. But we're talking about a $2,500 camera and a $6,000 camera. When you go back to the R5, you have a 45 megapixel sensor with incredible dynamic range. That matches the dynamic range of the R3, but you're getting almost double the megapixels. So you start seeing here that the R3 is a tremendous camera. It can shoot 30 frames per second electronic. I think with the latest update, it's 200 frames per second or something crazy. But it's not night and day different from the R5 or R6. Even the R5 and R6 aren't night and day different. So these cameras are more similar than ever. They're still sitting at 3 different price points. So that's why I think Canon isn't calling the R3 their flagship model. I think they know this. And that's why the rumored R1 that's supposed to come out next year will have that high megapixel sensor, which will more than likely be more than the R5 and surpass the image quality there. I'm sure with a backside illuminated sensor, it will also be a beast in low light. So now you start differentiating yourself. Now you're adding the speed of the R3, the benefits of the backside illuminated sensor, higher res sensor. You start kind of grabbing the best thing of the R6, the R5, and the R3, and you put it into the theoretical R1, the flagship Canon camera. What are your thoughts? Do you think I'm onto something? After using the R3 for 2 months, like I said, I love this camera. I'll do a separate video on what I like about it and what I don't like about it, but it became very clear to me why Canon isn't calling this their flagship camera. So guys, like I said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you don't want to do that and you want to reach out to me directly, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I love talking gear, so I'm always available there. So please like this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.